Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Chief Artisan Thursday. This time I'm back in the studio with.
This is Cicely Wilson, your identity alignment coach of Passion International, better known as the Pathfinder.
Yay! We are in the throes of the holiday, and I am excited about so many things happening in TOC Town. And Cicely is also one of our Team One bloggers, and she has come in studio today to just talk about the holidays and what's going on. So, what are your plans, Cicely?
Well, let's see, Nicole. I don't really have as many, plans for the holidays, and this has taken it's taken a different, metamorphosis, I think, over the years, which is kind of what I want to emphasize a little bit more. And I don't know if you want me to get into that now, but
Sure, go ahead. We're
I
free this
can,
holiday.
what's that?
We're free this holiday. Go ahead.
You know, my family structure, I think, has changed a bit, probably over the past 10 years, maybe, and 10 to 15 years. And in that, what I mean with that is I wanted to kind of emphasize the power of the matriarchs in the family, and how I remember a time when I was maybe, late teens or a teenager going into my 20s, when my grandmother and my great grandmother were still alive. And how during the holidays, we would gather from near and from far to come to their homes to celebrate, the major holidays such as Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it was always a really great time and one of my most look forward to occasions.
Wow.
But as they've gone on and passed away, I always recognize the unfortunate result of that, in that my family really doesn't gather as readily, or even as many, if you will, as before. Many have even, moved out of state, or they, some have passed on themselves. And so the numbers definitely have dwindled, and we do our part to still, keep it together. But as opposed to it being like a house full, it may just be a handful of people. So I've recognized that over the years, and therefore, that's why I say, like, plans are sometimes more random, or more like spur of the moment, if they do happen. Like, for instance, we met together for Thanksgiving, and that's great, but I have no clue what we're doing for Christmas, because my aunt, who usually cooks, communicated to us that she'll be out of town. And my mother, who, after had becoming a vegan, which she's vegan no more, nevertheless, she still does not cook as much as she was accustomed to in the past. So she's not as comfortable doing that. And then there's really no one else, that was kind of slated for, as far as the cooking is concerned. So it's kind of awkward, because I'm like, okay, I don't know necessarily what I'm doing for Christmas. So I might be with my significant other, but it's kind of how it is. And I think it's not just an impact of my family, possibly it has impacted other families abroad as well. I just see it as an unfortunate thing that those generations, beneath the matriarchal line, if you will, aren't as intentional in, gathering, like when our, matriarchs and patriarchs even so pass away and are no longer with us. We just kind of start doing our own thing. So that's what
Yeah.
I've recognized. Yeah, that's what I've recognized has occurred. And especially if you don't have an immediate family, a family of your own. Like, my immediate family is my mother. Like, I'm not married, don't have any children. So it makes it a little bit different if you do. But if you're single, and unmarried, then it's definitely a kind of cultural shock, because it's like, okay, what am I gonna do?
I think I can agree because I think you referenced like the past 10 years,
Mhm.
and I never actually, growing up, my great grandparents and grandparents had passed away before I was even born. So for
Oh,
me, the holidays were important. I have a lot of good memories, because my mom and my dad made sure that like each holiday, Santa Claus existed. You know, and we would write letters to Santa. Well, I would, and I would wish for like one thing and I would get that one thing. So for me, until we found out that they were Santa Claus, it was like Christmas was a great season for us because we cleaned the house until you
yeah.
can lick the floors clean. And, we didn't necessarily had dinner because my family's more international. So that's more of an American custom.
Right, right, right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So in that understanding, it was like it's not only were all my relatives outside of the US, I didn't have cousins or aunts, to or uncles to go to their home, to have dinner. So my understanding of Christmas and the holidays was more to the immediate family. Well,
Yeah.
fast forward that, till now, I've come to understand the holidays are not necessarily a happy time for everyone. Like you said, people pass on, though you love them and you understand the transition that had to happen for whatever reason. um
Right.
it's like it's not the first holiday is always the worst because it's the first year that they are gone out of your life, and whether that transition was a good one or you had unresolved issues before they passed away, it's like, okay, this holiday thing is going to be so different from last year. Like you said, we don't even know what we're going to
Certainly.
do this year, because if
Right.
that person passed on and is no longer there, maybe the house is not available and those memories are not there to cling on to.
Right,
So
right.
my thing in having this discussion today for Chief for Artisan Thursday is to talk about identity, and also what kind of path do we take, for a new path. Let's say that did happen to us, some unfortunate things that happened during the holiday, that there is still hope, that there's still a healing that can happen within your family, that even especially through the may say the word again.
Matriarch.
Thank you. The matriarch. My first language is French. I'm still learning English. Even though I'm over 40, but I'm still learning English. And my thing was, I'm learning more about my mom. Even she's on permanent vacation now,
Mm-hmm.
and we're decorating for the holidays because we're having people come in town for the holidays and they're staying at our home. So
Ah,
my brothers have had, a reputation of cooking at their house. So it's like, oh, in our house, it's like if you entertain and you host, you got to clean the house. So that's
good.
probably why I'm not like keen on hosting anything because sometimes I don't feel like cleaning the house.
Good.
And and
Certainly.
hanging out in your bathrobe in your pajamas is more of the the attire nowadays.
Sure.
And they've been known to like call at the last minute and say we're coming over your house for Christmas, and we're like, what?
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
transitions within the last 10 year have been my middle name. So, I've come accustomed to knowing and understanding that things can change at the last minute. It doesn't make them more pleasant to experience,
Mm.
but definitely I'm thankful for a lot of things that my parents are still with me, because they were in the earthquake of Haiti. So, to still have them with me is like a treasure. So,
Yes, absolutely. I would expect that. Absolutely. Yeah. So with the, identity of what works for those families out there, really what I just desire to encourage and speak to. I mean, there is a lot that is, available for people to get involved in and to take part of as far as what society does. But I guess my most heart's concern is that people don't uh, kind of run into the trap, if you will, of trying to compensate I guess beyond their means, even when it comes to the children and the younger ones, because typically at in the Christmas season we say like it's all about the kids, like really, for the most part, right? And so it's their holiday. I know, like everyone mentions everyone mentions, might be around, about Jesus, or might be, but when it comes to the natural society, I mean, it's really about the kids. And so I just want to encourage those, single parents out there, and those who may be without help, right? Maybe, the grandmothers were there who, used to be able to make that a really happy time, even for the kids, and they're not there anymore, or, the fathers or mothers or whomever. But I just want you to focus in on the quality of time that is spent, which does not cost any money, but the importance of presence with your, family and friends, no matter how many or few that you have. I can make a special Christmas alone with my mother and I. I mean, we really could. And we don't actually even have to purchase each other any gifts. We can do our favorite things, which is one of them, just being around each other and, just hanging out and cracking up and, enjoying things that we like to do. And thankfully, many of those things are the same things. So now that I'm an adult, I'm, big adult, right? So
It's like we're
the
grown daughters now, so it's a whole new meaning for us.
I'm a grown woman, so it's like the demands and the pressures of, oh, I need to get this or I need to get that. It's just not there for me anymore. And although, as much as I love to, I'm a big giver and love to give gifts, I also don't pressure myself with those demands if it's not a priority of mine. And not that I don't find creative ways to honor people. And that's another thing. I think that society can limit, the consumerism limits us, and the creativity of how you can honor or bless someone, if you will, during a holiday season. And so we've learned, times are lean, right? For many people, unemployment is at an all-time high. And so I'm certain that in these times of this season, it's probably not looking the same maybe as it did even a few years ago. So even with that, I want to encourage those out there to just find creative ways in order to honor someone. I mean, I remember once I offered to clean my mom's home, right, as a gift. That was like a gift that I could offer her. I offered to, do something that would really be helpful for her, clean, straighten out her paperwork or what have you, things that she just doesn't like to do, and then that I could do well, and I offered to do them. So things like that. I mean, when you really get, past the kid stages, and we're talking about, grown people, and we really don't need anything else, right? I mean, in all honesty, we don't need anything else, but sometimes, it would just be helpful to have a hand in some things that we just don't prefer to do. And so that's what I, encourage you as, yeah, bless the kids, be there for the kids, but also, communicate to them the importance of the season and the quality time of building relationships. And I believe that the kids, won't take that for granted either. No matter how young, they can appreciate, that being cultivated within them. And then they'll remember it also. And as they get older and transition it into their family, will be the hope. But it has to start somewhere. And adults, so I'm charging you. It does start with you, because whatever it is that you emphasize is what it is your children will eventually value. So
And on that
I just
note,
want to,
we're going to take a
yeah.
break and we'll be right back with part two of Tea for Artisan Thursday as we spend the holidays. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.